fresh off Wisconsin's doubleheader sweep of the Iowa Hawkeyes on Friday. We are back for Game 3. It's the Wisconsin Badgers taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes here on Big Ten Plus. And we welcome you to Goodman Diamond for the final game of this series. Chrissy Birdsall here alongside me, Ani Nambudri. Rachel Cohen, our field reporter, joining us later. Ani, yesterday the Badgers able to take both games of the doubleheader, but Tori Bennett keeping it on for the Hawkeyes with a 3 RBI homer in the first game.
Absolutely, and it was her first career home run for the Hawkeyes. Such a massive moment. You can't think of a much bigger moment to get your first career home run. And she also had a really good leaping catch at the wall in the second game.
Looking on the other side of the plate, Hillary Blomberg leading the way for the Badgers. She had 3 RBIs across 2 games.
Obviously, and that was distributed with a 2 RBI homer in the first inning of the first game as well. And then the double, obviously she's known for the double, the freshman record holder for doubles right here in Wisconsin.
These teams at 21 wins. Who's feeling 22 today? Let's take a look at Wisconsin's defense starting lineup. We got Wells, Bark, Whitten, Hubbard, Blomberg, Schlosser, Lucy Kuffel, and then in the pitching circle, Jordan Felci.
Practically an unchanged lineup from the first team except Whitten obviously playing second base. She had to start in the second game at second base, obviously, and obviously Felci on the mound. This makes it her second start. She started the games against Michigan, and she had a really solid outing in that second game. Maybe this is just a great nod from Coach Healy, giving the freshman the start on the mound. As
we get ready here at Goodman Diamond, it is Jenny Young leading off the batters for the Hawkeyes. As the first pitch from Jordan Felci is a ball. So we'll have a 1-0 count here at the top of the first.
Home plate umpire for this game, Jason Smith.
The 1-0 pitch from Felci. Straight down the middle, called for a strike. One thing that Yvette Healy and both Sammy Diaz talked about coming into this weekend was the pitching battle. Both had tremendous respect for the players in the circle, and both of them thought it was going to be low-scoring games, but the first 2 were definitely a lot high-scoring.
Absolutely. Maybe more the second game was a lot more, especially the second half of the second game of the doubleheader was a lot more maybe what both teams were expecting. But particularly, we have to talk about Jordan Felci on the mound right now, someone who no-hit the Hawkeyes for 4 2/3 innings, only allowed 1 base runner, obviously a leadoff walk in the top of the 5th.
2-1 pitch swung at, fouled out.
And what makes Felci quite unique is that she's the tallest player on this Wisconsin team at 6'1". And again, a lefty arm sort of gives a different look for this Hawkeyes lineup that does not have a bunch of lefties, but still that different look, it does affect things.
Here comes the 2-2 from Felci. Swung high, center field, going back towards the warning track, and that one's gonna hit the wall for a baseline hit. Young going all the way to third base for the triple. How about that start there from the Hawkeyes?
Hawkeyes get to Felci immediately. Jenna Young, a triple off the wall. It seems like in center. Lucy did not get the best read on the play. You saw her sort of backtracking a bit, trying to get to the ball, but in the end makes the play. But Jenna Young legs out the triple. A really good start for the Hawkeyes, especially considering their battles against Felci yesterday.
And here comes Tori Bennett, the second batter for the Hawkeyes. First pitch swung right to the third base. Nice catch there by Blomberg to get the out.
Nice play there, quick reaction, immediately getting the glove to it. Just a simple, nice play from Blomberg. And a quick one as well, just a nice play, and also making sure that Young did not take as big of a lead off third.
1 runner on third, 1 out. Now on to the third batter. First pitch hits the ground.
And the third batter is a dangerous one. Sujin Berry has been Iowa's best hitter by OPS at 1145, which is kind of an insane number when you think about it.
The top of this lineup for the Hawkeyes, so dangerous. Felci, the 1-0 pitch swung and missed out. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 runner on third.
Just fouled away there from Sujin Berry. She also leads this Hawkeyes team in home runs with 8 on the year, and also 68 total bases on the year as well in 31 games for Sujin Berry.
Here comes the 1-1. That one swung and missed. And now we'll have the first runner in quickly. Iowa, Jenna's Young getting points on the board for the Hawkeyes. That'll be an RBI for Berry as well, as the Hawkeyes get up early here.
Just out of the reach of Kaylee Whitten, but a really nice fundamental hit there from Sujin Berry, splitting the gap between second and first. You know, she was Softball America's Player of the Week coming into this game after her incredible performances against UCLA. They get to Felci early, someone who is a ground ball pitcher but had a lot of strikeouts yesterday.
First pitch swung out of bounds. That is Desiree Rivera in the box. And the one thing that Sammy Diaz said, assistant coach Sammy Diaz for the Hawkeyes, is they want to play simple softball. Since Golan has taken over as the head coach, they've been working on these fundamental things coming in each week. This week was managing the strike zone, and it seemed like they had some struggles with that during the first 2 games, but so far today, they've been doing a really great job reading the pitches. As the second one right there, high into left field, that one bounces just on the line, considered in play. A little bit of confusion there as the ball gets thrown to third base. Another baseline hit there for the Hawkeyes.
There seemed to be a bit of miscommunication between first and second, between Berry and Rivera. They're going to stick with first and second, but that was definitely a possibility for them to go from second to third. However, it's what you're talking about, managing the strike zone. They're taking what they're going to get out of Felci, and immediately we're going to get a mound visit. We're going to see what Coach Healy's thinking about over here, because Felci, the thing about Felci is she is a ground ball pitcher. She relies on balls in play to get the out. Yesterday was quite the outlier, honestly. She had 5 strikeouts on the year coming into that game against Iowa, and then she left the mound with 4 more to add. So she nearly doubled her strikeout total on the year in just 1 start.
Alyssa Ramos in the box after the mound visit from Yvette Healy, talking to Felci. Only 1 out in this inning so far. Hawks up 1-0 against the Badgers. Felci trying to get out of this inning as cleanly as possible. Runners on first and second, so 1 runner in scoring position. We're going to take some time here, get things going.
You know, Felci, and especially this is going to be an interesting matchup. You know, first and second, Felci worked out of some, not Felci, sorry, Kendra Lewis in the second game worked out of some really interesting runners in scoring positions in the first 3 innings of that Iowa game, the second Iowa game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Felci does in pretty similar situations that were faced last night.
Felci already up to 12 pitches just in this top of the inning alone. As the 0-1 pitch comes, swing and a miss from Ramos.
That was the pitch that was working for her yesterday, that sort of change-up moving into the righty batter. She was throwing that a lot. It got some really good swing and miss stuff out of this Iowa team. It's looked really good this entire series.
0-2 pitch from Felci. That one bounce off of the glove for a walk. Now we'll have runners bases loaded here as we come up with Talia Trenton. And Healy's going to talk to the official here.
Trenton, one of many incredible freshmen on both of these teams. One of 2 incredible freshmen wearing number 7 on both of these teams. Obviously, she started the game yesterday, and she's playing first base today. She also played first base in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. However, there seems to be maybe Coach Healy's talking about maybe looking again at that hit by pitch.
Yeah, as the officials meet near the center circle to discuss it, it looked like it went off of the glove of Emmy Wells. And now they're going to have a challenge coming from the Badgers dugout with Yvette Healy.
Only one of the challenges yesterday successfully overturned the call, and that was closer. That was later on in the game in the second game of the doubleheader. Again, I'm pretty sure these are the situations you kind of want the challenge in. Obviously, you've given up 1 run. You only have 1 out on the board. Getting into a bases loaded situation in times like these, maybe that's not what you want in situations like these. So it is definitely the decision that makes sense out of the Badgers dugout.
A lot of challenges yesterday during the doubleheader. Both of these coaching staffs trying to get ahead as much as they can. We've talked about both of them at 21 wins, the Badgers at 21-12, the Hawkeyes 21-11, both very tight-knit games from both sides, and both dugouts trying to do everything they can to get the advantage as the officials now coming out with the call.
And definitely a quick challenge. Definitely a lot quicker than some of the reviews we saw yesterday. And they're going to say that the challenge was unsuccessful and it was a hit by pitch.
So we'll have bases loaded here at the top of the first. Only one out for the Hawkeyes. One run on the board already, courtesy of the Jenna Young run.
And Talia Tretton has the chance to do some massive damage here, as we will get a pitching change here.
Very quickly.
Felci, after quite an impressive start, yes, quite an impressive outing yesterday, out after just 1 out. Molly Jacobson's going to come in for the Badgers to try and limit the damage.
Saw her get in a little bit in the doubleheader yesterday. This season is 19-8 in appearances in games started. Pitched about 57 innings coming into the weekend. Has an ERA of just over 3. Have to see what kind of damage she does. Try and get out of this inning as cleanly as possible.
Absolutely, and she had a pretty good outing, especially in the first game of that doubleheader. She only gave up 2 runs. She pitched 2 2/3 innings and obviously handed the ball off to Felci for them to obviously set up that walk-off win that they had, especially the walk-off triple. But again, she's come in situations like these. This is the situations when the Badgers need her, especially when coming off, Gabby Sallow pitching a game yesterday. Obviously, Jordan Felci pitching quite a bit. You've gone to Kendra Lewis already as well earlier in this series. She started the game. Yes, well, technically Emily Bojan started the game, but then they switched around the positions. It's quite the weird softball loophole.
That's the tough thing when you're on to game 3, how to manage your bullpen. And that was a problem for Yvette Healy and this Badgers squad last year. The bullpen only had a few pitchers that they could rotate through, having to put in emergency backups at time just to manage the pitch count for some of their star players like Gabby Sallow, who didn't start today. I'm not sure if we'll see her at all, but now talking to Yvette Healy, she said one of the biggest changes is they went into the portal, grabbed a player like Molly Jacobson, beefed up that pitching rotation in the dugout to give themselves an opportunity, and now Jacobson, a lot of pressure here to try and get out of this inning cleanly as she's facing a very strong hitter in Talia Trenton.
And she was quite impressive at Virginia in her time in Virginia Tech. Particularly, she had some good. Her 2023 was quite impressive, 7-2 record with 2 complete games. But this year, she's really shown quite a fun pitcher. Obviously, 29 strikeouts before this doubleheader, and then 15 walks before this doubleheader as well. So definitely a gamble for pitcher. And that's honestly the pitchers that are quite fun to watch.
1-0 pitch just outside to the right. Jacobson, 2 balls to start her first. As she's facing against Trenton. Bases loaded here. Hawkeye is leading by 1. Looking to extend that lead early at the top of the first. Jacobson, here comes the 2-0. Right down Broadway for the strike.
What's also fun about this matchup is it's a graduate student primary pitcher versus a freshman primary pitcher. It's the best part of games like these. You see people like this battle between experience and then talent from someone like Talia Tretton, who's been able to immediately come into this Iowa team and improve the win total. And they've already improved a lot on the season they had before this.
Iowa with a chance to add another run on the board as got the 3-1 coming up here from Jacobson.
Hitters count here.
Here comes the 3-1. She keeps herself in it as we got a full count here early at the top of the first. If you're Trenton, do you swing at this?
It depends on what gets offered, honestly, because I think setting up swing in a situation like these, maybe not, because suppose it ends up into a ground ball, and that's double play right there.
Here comes full count pitch. Swung high into the right field, and that one is picked up for the first out, and 1 runner will score.
Sujin Berry will score, but I will say that was a good play out of Brooke Kuffel in right, limiting the damage, making sure that the runner does not advance from second to third as well. So this is now going to be a first and second situation instead of what would have been a second and third situation if Kuffel did not rush the throw and got it in quickly to Olivia Bark.
So we'll have Devin Simon at the plate here for the Hawkeyes. First pitch slightly to the outside.
You know, this is, again, it's an interesting matchup, especially when you have someone like Devin Simon, who was making really good defensive plays yesterday, some good runs. We've seen some good plays from right as well this entire series.
Comes a 1-0. And that last play is just so tough when you're in a situation, bases loaded, full count. Trenton getting a nice swing on it for the sac fly.
And also, like, you could, in those situations, you could very easily just keep the ball and just allow the run to score and then just, like, try and do some damage limitation over there. But good play there from Kuffel to get it in quickly. And then Simon as well. Obviously, she's at the plate right now. She made some really good running grabs in right field across both games of the doubleheader, particularly in the second game. There was a play where she was hustling towards a foul ball. Very clearly a foul ball. No chance she was going to get to it. Still hustling towards the ball, trying to get there, and then just missing it by...
Simon with the pitch picked up as Berners will advance, but they're out on first, and that'll get us out of the inning. Jacobson coming in on cleanup, but the Hawkeyes leading 2-0 heading into the middle of the first.
Wisconsin Athletics recognizes UW Health, the official sponsor of women's athletics. A special thanks to UW Health for being a cornerstone sponsor of Wisconsin Athletics. Fans, stop by the Wisconsin table to play Run of the Game, presented by Cousins. Correctly guess when the Badgers will score their first run and win a $10 gift card. Head to the Wisconsin table to participate. Please be aware that foul balls may land in your area during today's game. All foul balls are sponsored by Quick Trip. Please return these to the nearest usher and receive a coupon for a free Cheese Mountain pizza slice and 12-ounce Flesh Friends drink. A special thanks to Quick Trip for their support of Wisconsin Athletics.
Iowa leading 2-0 after the top of the first, but here come the Badgers. Let's take a look at Iowa's defense coming up here for the Hawkeyes.
Absolutely. I mean, this, again, a very similar team from what we saw yesterday. Jenna Young, obviously, at second base. Tori Bennett in center. Devin Simon, obviously, we're talking about her in right field. Sujin Berry, she had the error yesterday at short. But I want to note, though, Jalen Adams is on the mound again.
Adams, one of the strong pitchers for this team. They switch between Trenton and Adams as we take a look at the batting order here for the Badgers. First up on the mound is Olivia Bark. Had herself a solid game yesterday in the doubleheader, as well as Schlosser, Blomberg, Lewis, Kuffel, Lucy, Whitten, Hubbard, and Wells.
Kaylee Whitten's going to be getting her first at-bats of the year if this batting order stays the same coming into that.
Get the first pitch from Adams today.
Main one to note, though, on that batting lineup, though, has been the two-way, has been, honestly, the three massive power bats in the 3-4-5 spot. Lucy, Lewis, and, of course, Hillary Blomberg.
And for Bark, it's all about just getting on base. About a 28% on-base percentage this year, an OPS of 912. As we have a 1-1 count with Adams in the pitch.
What
and a swing and a strike.
What makes Bark effective is her elite plate discipline. She's one of 4 people on this Wisconsin team with 4 walks on with 10 or more walks on the year. But now she has 11 and a 912 OPS as well, and that's not with the highest.
And the swing from Bark gets in time for the first out from the Hawkeyes.
Good play there from Sujin Berry, just getting it from the glove straight to first base. But as we were talking about with Olivia Bark, she doesn't have the high slugging numbers, but her ability to get on base is so solid that it just makes her a threat almost immediately.
Coming up for the Badgers, the hometown native, Molly Schlosser from Oconomowoc. Let's take a look at Jalen Adams here in the season that she's had. As we get the first pitch from Adams.
Again, interesting to know. Obviously, Iowa playing with the corners in right now on Molly Schlosser. She's known for being a really good bunter, obviously. That's why. And particularly when you talk about Jalen Adams, though, Iowa have played nearly 200 innings of softball. Jalen Adams has pitched 111 of them, which, I mean, that's insane numbers when you think about it. And she's been so solid with 82 strikeouts and 30 compared to 36 walks. You know, she's really good at limiting the base runner.
Schlosser with a swing into left center field. That one picked up easily by Simon for the second out from the Hawkeyes.
Just a simple 1-2 step into the catch. Pretty normal play out there. But again, good. They're going to look at these. These are good at bats. They're getting solid contact on the ball. 2 balls in play immediately, especially when you're now getting to the heart of this lineup. Blomberg, Lewis, Lucy, all these power bats now back to back.
Blomberg doesn't swing at the first pitch, but she did have a home run in the first inning of the first game yesterday. Also had herself a double, 3 RBIs on the totals, having herself a solid season, batting over 300, 23 RBIs on the year.
She's been the power bat for this Wisconsin team. She leads the team in home runs with 7, total bases in 63. Her slugging percentage is 600, an OPS at 962. She's the best qualified hitter on this team because Lewis has only played 20 games. But it's been like the momentum that she had from her freshman year and then coming into this sophomore year. It seems like we're getting the same Hillary Blomberg that we got last season.
Just like an amplified version of it as get the first strike from Adams in this count. Second pitch there, swung into the outside.
You could kind of hear everyone cheering because there was a foul ball from the first inning of the first game of the doubleheader that was stuck in the net. That's finally come down after that. So
I thought the softball split in half for a second. I thought, wow, Hillary Blomberg's got some power on that bat. Got the 2-2 count. That one fouled away. Keeps herself alive in here. 2-2 and 2 all across the board.
Absolutely. And then think about Hillary Blomberg. The plate discipline obviously improving coming into this. She had 11 walks last year, but now she's already up to 9. And
Blomberg swings and misses as Adams gets out of the hit cleanly. 3 up, 3 down. Iowa still leading by 2 after the first inning.
Badger fans, today we celebrate the incredible women in sports who continue to pave the way for future generations. In honor of Women's Month, we are proud to highlight the women who make game day possible. From today's producer, sideline reporter, play-by-play announcer, and show caller, to our communications personnel, photographer, event manager, and ticketing representative, every key role behind the scenes is led by women. Let's give a round of applause for all the trailblazers in sports, past, present, and future.
Iowa Hawkeyes leading by 2 at the end of the first inning. But let's take a look at these 2 head coaches, starting off with Wisconsin head coach Yvette Healy. Been there for 15 seasons. Highest winning percentage of any UW softball coach, over 400 wins at the program.
Absolutely, and she's done a really good job considering what happened last year and moving into this year. They've already improved on their win total from last year and really turned around the program. And then obviously look at Carl Golan, a different way to approach how to improve the season. Golan comes in as the acting head coach, comes in with Sammy Diaz, someone who was on the team last year, and shows massive improvement.
First pitch by Mateo, bunted and gets the out. Bark there at the first base.
They're going to call that a foul ball.
Call that.
I think it's because she bunted it, went backwards.
So we'll have the 0-1 here from Jacobson. That one on the inside.
Mariello at the plate right now. She was one of the more solid hitters in the past 2 games. She obviously went 2 for 3 in the first game, and then in the second game, she may not have had a hit, but she had a lot of really good at-bats and a lot of lengthy at-bats against people like Jordan Fauci. But particularly what's important to note is that Mariello is a lefty, and she's one of the only lefties on this Iowa team. And when they were facing Fauci, I mean, me and the person yesterday, Carter, we were talking a lot about just how much that lefty-lefty matchup helps someone. But now when you have someone like a righty-lefty matchup right now, this is massively in the favor of Mariello. And it's going to be interesting to see how that approach changes, obviously, with the different arms that Wisconsin has.
Comes 2-1. That one swung and fouled out over the bleachers into the back. But Echo Mariello, her impact on this team, she has become a player that has become really crucial to this lineup as the year has gone on.
You know, and also Coach Sammy Diaz talked about her as the spiritual leader of this team as well. You know, talked about how important it was having her in the clubhouse and having her, you know, around her teammates, obviously.
Here comes the 2-2, swung into third base. The throw gets there in time for the first out.
Another really good play by Blomberg over there. Obviously, naturally a catcher, but she's playing a lot of third base this year. She's been making some really good plays. Obviously, a line drive catch in the first. She also had 360 play going into the end of the first inning, and just another nice play over there, catching Mariello, someone who has a bit of speed, getting her with a nice solid throw.
Tatiana Roman in the box for Iowa. They lead 2-0 to top of the second. And it feels like for Iowa, when you look at this batting order, there really isn't any holes in there. It feels like anybody could have a good game at any time.
No, absolutely. And a lot of the, when you look at the pure statistics that...
Second ball swung and hit and missed off the glove of Jacobson, as Roman will get a base hit for the single.
No, especially when you're looking at the OPS numbers for Iowa. They may not pop off the screen, but what that doesn't tell you is how often they fight off pitches. They're really good two-strike hitters, particularly. You know, keeping those at-bats going, fouling off pitches, and that counts for something. They were getting into a lot of full counts yesterday in particular, and now having someone like Roman get on base means you bring up the top of the order. Jenna Young now, the leadoff hitter, on deck with some of your best hitters now on deck as well.
Only one out. First pitch outside.
Wisconsin right now in double play defense. They're going to try and get the ground ball. They have a bit of the corners in again just to try and quickly turn that double play.
And Young had the triple to start off the game, getting the first run as well as the second pitch goes outside. That was when she faced Felci, now facing a new batter or new pitcher here in Molly Jacobson.
Yeah, exactly. Different handedness as well, and different types of pitchers. Felci more of a ground ball pitcher, Jacobson a lot more strikeout. And that definitely differs because Felci more content with throwing balls into the zone. Jacobson not as much.
The 1-1. Swung and fouled behind.
Especially because, you know, ground ball pitchers, they're going to throw a lot more in the zone. They're going to hopefully try and get as less swing and miss stuff. But, sorry, that's what Jacobson's looking for. She's looking to sort of make them swing and miss, whereas Felci's looking to get that contact and let the defense behind her do the rest.
We get the 1-2 pitch from Jacobson. That one swung and fouled out. Young keeping herself in it here, adding to Jacobson's pitch count. Trying to get herself on base again, going 2 for 2 after that triple in the first inning.
Jacobson already up to 22 pitches as well on the day. And she's technically only pitched 1 inning, like 3 outs, so good job by the Iowa hitters fighting off.
1-2, that one swung high into center left field and picked up easily by Schlosser.
Again, nice play there, just a step into the catch, throwing it in to make sure that the runner does not come in.
Number 1, Tori Bennett.
Tori Bennett now up to the plate. Obviously, she had a massive hit in the last game, didn't she?
Yeah, and that's the thing about this top of the lineup. It is so dangerous. If you're able to get your runners on base, you can really make some damage here. at the top of the lineup. We'll get the first pitch from Jacobson.
Now, Tori Bennett, obviously, she had her first home run for the Iowa Hawkeyes, which is just a massive moment, right? She started as a shortstop. She moves to center field. That's a really hard transition to make, and she's done really well.
Pitch from Jacobson. Just a little inside.
She started in 37 games last year and had 6 multi-hit games, obviously. She went 3 for 4 against CSU Bakersfield last year. But this year, she's really turned it up and made herself sort of a two-way threat, sort of on the defensive side. And she's had some good hitting games as well. I mean, yesterday she had a great night, obviously. And it'll be interesting to see how she approaches coming into today.
Kept the Hawkeyes in it in that back and forth. First game against the Badgers, they were able to walk it off. In the second game, the Badgers able to complete the doubleheader sweep. As we take a moment, it looked like Jacobson was fixing her mask, and now she's back in the circle and ready to go. Get the 2-1 pitch here from Jacobson. Run down the pitch clock here. Jacobson. A lot of time on that one.
I think that was just again trying to keep the runner a bit at bay. Obviously, if 31, you could use that, but now it's a hitter's count for Tori Bennett. Kind of like a free swing here.
Roman's been looking like she's been ready to run. She hasn't had any stolen base attempts this year, but she looks like she's ready to go at any moment. As we get the 3-1 from Jacobson. That one swung in the middle off the glove of Jacobson. A great play. Missed. And Roman gets the second.
They missed the flip there. It was clearly what they were going for. Whitten was going to try and flip it towards Hubbard. Hubbard just did not have the glove ready for it, but I think it might be called an error. It'll be depending on how the scorekeeper does it.
For Iowa, number 11.
Wait for Stat Broadcast to give us the official, but it'll be a base hit for Tori Bennett.
For now.
As now get the third hitter, Susan Berry, one of the leaders of this team entering this year. First pitch from Jacobson, just to the outside.
She has quite an interesting approach to the play. She has such a classic batting stance. She keeps the bat just like static on her shoulder in waiting for the pitch. And, you know, it's just it's nice approach. It's just clean and it's clearly working out. You know, she obviously has 8 home runs on the year.
One of the Big Ten players to watch entering 2025 as the second pitch goes outside.
And obviously winning Softball America Player of the Week. I mean, we've already mentioned that, but such a massive honor. And it's clearly carried into it. She's been hitting 500 over the past 10 games. So she's very clearly feeling it towards the middle of this year.
Third pitch called for a ball. We have 2-1 coming up for Jacobson and Berry. And Berry entering this week's played and started in 29 games entering this weekend. 35 hits, 7 home runs. One of the leaders of the team in that category. She gets a hit right here, fouls out of bounds. Goes just over the bleachers.
Just over the bleachers. No souvenir.
No souvenir. No souvenir cousin sub for whoever catches the ball. So we'll have a 2-2 coming up here from Jacobson and Berry. But you talked about the pitch count from Jacobson. Already at 32 after coming in the middle of the first to get Felci out of that top of the inning.
We've also got a confirmation that they're going to rule that as an error.
As Berry on the outside, that one gets picked up by Schlosser.
Just a nice running play there from Schlosser, just getting to the ball, making sure that the play is made.
Gets out of the inning cleanly, but the Hawkeyes leading 2-0 heading into the middle of the second.
Carly from Cambridge.
The Badgers trailing by 2-0 to Iowa, but Wisconsin trying to get it back. They're using the weight room to do that. For more, our field reporter, Rachel Cohen.
Thanks, guys. After chatting with Wisconsin head coach Yvette Healy, it seems like the Wisconsin weight room is the place to be. Shortstop Ellie Hubbard is in charge of the music, and so she's creating playlists ranging from rap to country. Most recently, it has been country mix. She even said that the players don't work out alone. The coaching staff joins them as well. If Coach Healy sees the girls going for high hurdles, she does it too. She said they all have fun with that. Coach Healy also mentioned the benefit of having this home series and home games in general is that they get the extra day in the weight room, which they typically miss when they're on the road. Guys?
Leading off for the Badgers, number 7, Kendra Lewis.
And Wisconsin, 7 weeks before on the road, this is their first weekend home series, starting off 2-0 against the Hawkeyes, but currently down by 2 as Kendra Lewis is at the plate for the Badgers. Had herself a very solid outing yesterday.
Absolutely. I mean, could the Wisconsin fans have asked for a more cinematic opening game? Obviously, back and forth, multiple go-ahead home runs. And
she gets a hit right there, trying to get it in time, and doesn't get to the base on time. Iowa, great play there to get the out.
good little play there from Jenna Young. Just nice flip, underhand. But again, Lewis was doing it both ways. She's a nice comparison to someone like Talia Tretton because they both did the exact same thing, obviously. Both played in the field, and they both pitched as well in the day. It's just massive stuff.
So now we'll see Brooke Kuffel at the plate as the first pitch fouled off to the left.
Kuffel was mainly playing center field in yesterday's game, but she also had some time in right. And she's again been a really solid defensive player this entire series.
As we get the 0-1 from Adams. That one swung and missed by Kuffel. The one thing that was really interesting that Yvette Healy said coming into this game was when you play against a pitcher like Adams, they were able to see her last year when they played in Iowa City, that a lot of the players who were returning were studying the pitches from Adams to try and give themselves an advantage coming into the game, as we'll get the 0-2 pitch. That went off to the outside.
And I mean, you can do so much studying on a pitcher like Adams, but Adams is so solid on the mound. You know, she really doesn't give a lot to hit. And obviously, Wisconsin were able to get to her early, but by the second half of the game, she was dealing. She was continuously going through it. And, you know, again, we keep talking about just the volume that Jalen Adams throws, but that's such an impressive thing to see, obviously.
As we get the 1-2 from Adams. That one swung into center, picked up by Adams. Gets the throw in first in at time.
Just a nice play. She nearly falls over with the ball, sort of carrying it with its momentum, but she gathers herself and makes the play to first. And how about that? Jalen Adams to Talia Tretton. Right over there, that's about 93% of Iowa's innings right there in that one play.
As well as Danny Lucy stepping up to the plate for the Badgers. Wisconsin trying to get on the board. A bit of a different situation than yesterday, as the first pitch is swung and missed by Lucy.
Nasty pitch there from Jalen Adams, just tailing away.
And that's the tough thing about pitching, is you've seen some of these players before and you have to find ways to make it new. And that's one thing that Jalen Adams does a very great job of, as second pitch fouled straight away. Almost looked like it was coming right into the press box over here.
If we didn't have a window and there was no net, that would be right at us.
Get a Sports Center highlight play.
Sports Center highlight.
Avani catching the ball.
And then just throwing it in.
We'll have the 0-2 from Lucy, 2 outs. Adams go up and down 3 times. That one hit to Adams. Adams to Trent, gets that in time. 3 up, 3 down for Adams and the Hawkeyes. They lead by 2 at the end of the second inning.
Wisconsin 0. The Badgers would like to recognize Port Washington 10U as our Stars of Tomorrow team of the game. Today's Stars of Tomorrow presentation is brought to you by UW Health, the official women's athletic title sponsor of Wisconsin Athletics. Thanks for supporting our Badgers, and good luck with your season. New pitcher coming into the game for the Badgers, number 15, Gabby Salo.
The Hawkeyes leading the Badgers 2-0 at the top of the third. Iowa coming into the weekend with 16 home runs. They were able to get 3 last night.
Absolutely. Tori Bennett, Sujin Berry, and Desiree Rivera. Desiree Rivera, obviously the solo shot, but the big one, Tori Bennett, obviously we've talked about it earlier in this game. A 3-run shot. Her first home run for the Hawkeyes also turns out to be a 3-run go-ahead after they were down 4-0. You know, it's as cinematic of a home run as you'd want as your first career home run. And then Sujin Berry just continuing her power streak that she's had for the Hawkeyes. She went from 1 home run last year to now she's already at 8.
Yeah, and this is a team, this Iowa team, relies so much on their pitchers and their defense, which is why both coaches expected to come in and have it be a low-scoring game. But yesterday, it was quite the opposite. Not sure if it was the warm weather or the sunny skies, whatever the reason may be, but it was a high-flying game as the first pitch from Salo is fouled out. So now we'll see Gabby Salo in the circle here for the Badgers.
And again, it's interesting to know when you see the players who have hit home runs. It was a catcher, a shortstop, and a center fielder. You know, 3 positions known for their defensive abilities more than anything. But those are the home run hitters. And especially when you look at someone like Sujin Berry, who's been a shortstop practically this entire season. She's been the big power threat for this Iowa Hawkeyes team. And then when you look on the other side, Kendra Lewis, another person who's played the outfield and middle infield.
Hit center right field, and that one picked up very easily by Whitten to get the first out.
Again, solid play getting to the ball by Whitten. And again, after a slight defensive miscommunication in the second, nice to just recollect.
Whitten playing second base. That's one position that we've seen have a lot of turnover for the Badgers this year as they try and figure out who could fit really well there. Whitten getting the start today as ball hit right to Whitten. Neofez pick it up, gets it thrown in time to Bark.
Not able to collect it, but simple, just recollects herself, makes the play. And again, we've been talking about it, but yeah, there were multiple defensive replacements yesterday at second, particularly in that first game. We saw 3 different players playing second base in that first game, and then in the second game, we had 3 more players play second base.
First pitch to Trent, called for a strike.
Whitten obviously came in as a defensive replacement in both those games. Again, it's just nice to have those players that you can sort of swap out, and depending on the matchup, you can put them in.
Whitten only a freshman at that position from Monument, Colorado. As the second pitch is called for a strike. 2 outs, 2 strikes. Salo trying to get out of this inning, 3 up, 3 down. Does he get the 0-2?
You know, Gabby Salo, she maybe has the most impressive high school softball career I think I've ever read about. You know, she led her team to a 65-8 overall record, 824 career strikeouts, 50 shutouts, 19 no-hitters, and 12, count them, 12 perfect games.
She's trying to get out of this inning clean lead. Badgers still trailing by 2. So we'll have a 2-2 coming up from Salo.
She's looked really solid on this mound coming out.
2-2. To the outside. Now we'll have a full count.
You know, maybe not on the same level as someone like Jalen Adams in terms of the inning numbers, but, you know, Gabby Salo really has been that one pitcher that Wisconsin's been able to lean on in situations like these.
Here comes a pitch from Salo. And she gets out of the inning cleanly. The Badgers still trailing by 2, but a strong inning from Wisconsin's defense as we head into the middle of the third.
I'd like to recognize Wisconsin Outlaws 10U who came out to support us today. Thank you for supporting the Badgers and good luck with your season.
You don't need lessons, you do what you want is refreshing. As soon as you taste independence, you start living life in the present. Hey there, how you been? I'm the voice in your head, and I know you've been thinking when you find me. Let me in. I got power in my hands, and it's yours for the taking. Hey there, how you been? I'm the voice in your head.
There's no plus like home on Big Ten Plus. In addition to live games, your subscription includes exclusive access to Big Ten Network's library of classic game, award-winning original programming, and specialty curated digital channels that highlight your favorite Big Ten school 24/7. Explore all that Big Ten Plus has to offer on the app or at BigTenPlus.com. Iowa leading by 2 at the bottom of the third, as the Badgers have been struggling to get on base so far in this game. A very different game than what we saw in the doubleheaders yesterday.
Absolutely. I mean, all the runs have come in the top of the first for the Hawkeyes, and then ever since it's been really solid. Gabby Sallow came in, Molly Jacobson came in, and both of them did pretty well. But if you want to talk about good pitching performances today, how about Jalen Adams so far?
Having herself a very solid performance as we have Emily Bojan in the batter's box.
Bojan is definitely one of the more interesting hitters on this Wisconsin team. You know, she has 16 walks in the year. That's 5 more than anyone else on the team. She's really proven herself as sort of a definitely a lot more modern, definitely a lot more in line of what Coach Healy's vision of this team is as a better 2-strike hitter. Not afraid to get on with the walk or the hit by pitch, obviously, and you know, having players like that at the 3 when you have players like Blomberg, Lewis afterwards, you know, that makes so much sense, obviously, to just have people who can get on base.
2-1 pitch from Adams. It's the second strike. We're at 2-2. But you mentioned Adams having herself a very solid day, facing 6 batters, a strikeout, but hasn't really given up anything. Testament to how good this Iowa defense is. Pitches swung and missed by Bojan.
They're going to call that a foul ball, but she managed to get a slight hit of it. However, I would think Bojan's pinch hit for Kaylee Whiddon. We were wondering if we were going to get that first at bat for Whiddon. We're not. It looks like we're going to be getting a sort of hitting defense matchup with Bojan and Whiddon sort of switching in and out.
Bojan keeping herself alive. She was able to clip a piece of it.
Takes ball 3, and now we have a full count going. It's going to be interesting to see whether Adams is going to attack Bojan in the zone with this one.
So we get the full count pitch from Adams. That one swung into center field, line drive, as we'll get a baseline hit from Bojan. The Badgers needed that momentum coming in.
Absolutely. They finally get a base runner. Before this, Adams was perfect. Adams was perfect from 2. And then the first, obviously, Bojan gets on base with the hit. And now we bring up Hubbard. And after Hubbard's the top of the lineup, so this is going to be interesting for how Adams deals with this.
Hubbard looking to go for bunt. As you showed there on that first pitch.
Corners are in for Iowa, though. They are expecting the bunt. Hubbard obviously not known more for offense, but known a lot more for her defense. Really great defensive shortstop.
I shall show bunt there as the throw is in time, but runners advance. Bojan getting to second.
Another very important thing to know about this Wisconsin team, a really old school approach. Willing to bunt, willing to steal. The 2-hitter being a really solid bunter. You know, if you want to talk about bunts in Wisconsin, the main ones, the Seton Hall play, you know, they walked off the game against Seton Hall. with the squeeze play. You rarely see that.
Now we'll get to the bottom of the lineup with Emmy Wells coming in, the Valparaiso native. One runner on second. First pitch from Adams. Wells swings, fouls outside.
And on the topic of the bunt, obviously, and on that Seton Hall play, Jalen Adams has a really good changeup. She's thrown in multiple times into the hitters. It's a look really nasty as well. But Coach Healy has talked about how they're willing to do the bunt play, especially when they see someone with a good changeup, because it's going to go inside on their more righty hitters. So it makes a lot of sense.
Wells, that one hit high into left field, and that's going to get a drop by the Hawkeyes as the runner will advance to first. So an error on the Iowa's defense, and now the Badgers are back at the top of the lineup.
It looks like the second error of the series for Sujin Berry. It did look like there was just a weird miscommunication between the third baseman, between your third baseman Ramos, your left fielder and Tatiana Roman, and Sujin Berry. Just looks like they weren't really. No one had really called for the ball in situations like that. That's really hard. But now Emmy Wells on first. Now things get interesting. Top of the lineup is here with runners on first and second.
And we got a runner coming in, Kate Linkletter for Wells.
Linkletter, maybe the most important pinch runner of the entire series so far. She was able to leg out the winning run on the triple by Kendra Lewis in game one to walk it off for Wisconsin.
Badgers hoping to do some damage here in the bottom of the third. First pitch from Adams. That one swung to third base past two Iowa defensive players. Healy telling first runner to stop, and now we got the bases loaded here.
Bases loaded. Bojan was held up by Healy, but I mean, now you have Schlosser, obviously, and Schlosser really adept at the bunt. We're going to have a consultation with Jalen Adams, though. If I'm being honest, I don't understand why, because those have been three plays that were all quite, simple base hits sort of given up. It looks like Adams is a lot more solid on the mound right now, but now's the business part of Wisconsin's lineup. Schlosser opens up the entire lineup to where now after this it's Blomberg, then Lewis, then Kuffel, then Lucy.
And Schlosser was a big part of both Wisconsin wins yesterday as we get the first pitch from Adams. That one a little bit low. There's a big opportunity here for the Badgers. Only one out. And has an opportunity to really do some damage, get some runs on the board here with Schlosser. Second pitch from Adams. That one swung into the left center field. Hits a back wall. We'll have one runner score. Second runner score, holding runners at third base. So the Badgers getting themselves on the board here. They tie it up at 2 apiece.
Molly Schlosser, a game-tying double. A great play over there. She hits it just over the left fielder, Tatiana Roman. And then a great little substitution as well. Kate Linkletter legs it out. And now we do have a really interesting situation. Bark on third, Schlosser at second, Blomberg at the plate.
Two runners in scoring position. Blomberg could take the lead here. She'll swing that one into left field and gets picked up by Ramos for the second out.
What I find really interesting about Blomberg obviously comes out to the Gwen Stefani song, The Great Escape. And that's the walk-up song for Gunnar Henderson, star shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. And both of them are really similar players when you think about it. They're sort of really skill infield positions that can play good defense, but can hit the ball really hard as well.
And another batter can really do some damage. Kendra Lewis, the freshman, in the box here. 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. The Badgers able to tie it up at 2 apiece.
And what a day she had yesterday. Obviously, she may have lost her hitting streak in the second game off the doubleheader, but she's OPSing over 1,200. So, at the end of the day,
is the 1-2 pitch from Adams. That one swung and missed by Lewis. So Adams able to get out of the inning, but the Badgers putting 2 runs on the board, tying it up at 2 apiece at the end of the third inning.
Remote teach you to watch up to 4 games at once. Download the Big Ten Plus app today.
The Badgers able to tie it up at 2 apiece, and a big reason for that, Molly Schlosser having herself a solid game in the doubleheader yesterday.
Absolutely. You know, she's looked really good this entire day. And she's made some really good plays as well in the field. That's what's important to note. She's been really good in left field for this Wisconsin team behind people like Blomberg, who's been playing really good defense as well. But main thing to note, obviously the game-tying double today in Madison.
Puts the Badgers back in it as Devin Simon will step up for the Iowa Hawkeyes. We'll have some change-ups here.
Salo has looked really good on the mound ever since she's come in. Really stabilized. Her and Jacobson have really stabilized a lot.
It's the first pitch by Salo. Called for a strike. Fouls came in, faced 3 batters today. The second one is fouled behind.
You know, again, as we were talking about, we were comparing her obviously to Jalen Adams, you know, with the amount of innings that they have thrown. And she's throwing a lot of important innings. And now this has gone from like a situation where Wisconsin needs some sort of damage limitation from 2-0 down to a situation where now the game is tied. They're looking for someone to continue dealing those innings so they can potentially come out of the gates and win this.
And you're putting one of your best pitchers on the circle in Salo as you get the pitch here coming up. The one need to be chased away. So we'll have a 2-2 count here.
You know, even count. It's going to be interesting to see how Salo approaches this, considering we got a lot of full counts in the previous game. And Simon obviously has been making some really good plays in right field.
2-2, check swing.
Very barely held up there. Simon looked like she was going to take the massive hack at it, but no. Just holds up.
They'll give us the full count here at the top of the 4th. Iowa led by 2 in the first, but Badgers coming back as they got 2 runs in the 3rd. And a swing and a miss from Simon. As Salo will get the K.
Salo deals over there as well. We're now going to head to Echo Mattiello, someone who's looked really solid this entire series. Now hitting 375 on the season. Very recent development. She's only recently started getting at bats for this Hawkeyes team, and she's been proving them quite right for giving her those at bats.
She had 9 at bats entering the weekend, and it feels like her role has just continued to expand with this team, and she's going to need to have something here this season, hitting 375, but only 6 hits. But she had 3 RBIs as well as a double, putting herself together a very solid performance as back-to-back strikes by Gabby Salo as she tries to put Mattiello down.
And you know, we talked about how Coach Sammy Diaz is talking about her as the spiritual leader of the team. It's really promising when you hear coaches talk about juniors like this, you know, especially when they're going to have another year.
Okay, got a check swing there on the last hit, and we'll stay alive here as that one was called for a ball. So we got 1-2 with 1 out at the top of the 4th. Both teams knotted up at 2 apiece.
It's also going to be interesting to see how the weather holds up.
So we got Mattiello gets it swung into center left field. That one picked up easily for the 2nd out. Danny Lucy making the play there in the outfield.
Good rangy play there from Lucy. Gets to the ball quickly, gets a right path to it, jogs towards it, makes the play. Again, just a nice running play. And now we're going to get to Tatiana Roman, but obviously Roman, if she can get on, we get the top of the Iowa lineup. and that can be some real damage.
And she was able to do so earlier in this game.
What I also find interesting a lot about Tatiana Roman is the way she hits. She runs towards the pitcher in the middle of the pitch, which I find quite entertaining, if I'm being honest.
You see some batters do that in softball. Definitely more of a softball thing is one ball on the second pitch, also called for a ball.
Absolutely, and she's someone who definitely bunts quite a bit as well, which obviously when you do that, you're obviously trying to get out of the batter's box a lot faster. And that makes sense, obviously.
2-0 pitch, that one called for the first strike in this face-up.
This is also an interesting matchup. Obviously, they have 2 outs on the board. Getting this base runner on again would mean top of the lineup. And that's going to be another ball. We'll be looking at the 3-1, a hitter's count for Roman.
Dangerous situation. Roman started and played in 29 games this year, 16 hits, 5 RBIs, and she's going to get a walk there.
And now this is the top of the lineup. Jenna Young obviously means the start, but this is a front three that has looked really good this entire weekend. Young, Bennett, and Barry have had massive hits, and Rivera as well. She had a home run early in the series.
And Young's triple in the first inning was really what set the Hawkeyes off on a good start, where they were able to get those 2 runs to lead by 2-0. But the Badgers starting to climb out as Young looking to get the Hawkeyes back on the board once again.
And what's interesting is that was her second leadoff triple of the series. She had one last night as well. In that game, obviously, Kendra Lewis was able to work out of it, but usually having a runner on third to lead off an inning, lead off the game, that's a good sign, especially for your team.
2 outs, 2 balls, no strikes in this one. Salo trying to get out of this inning cleanly. 1 runner on base, Roman at the first. Look at the 2-0 pitch from Salo. Once again, Roman looks like she's just going to take off at any moment, which is pretty surprising. She's taken a lot of walks coming into this game, leading the team with 15 entering this weekend, and she got another one here in the second game. But Jenny Young looking to advance the runners here is that 3 balls, and now we'll get the first strike.
You know, yeah, and again, Roman, someone who doesn't have the highest slugging on this team, not really known for that, but just blade discipline and that ability to bring up the top of the lineup at that bottom of the lineup. That's a really valuable resource, and again, that's another walk for Iowa. And now we're going to get Tori Bennett with 2 runners on base. Where have we seen this before?
Yeah, dangerous situation here as Healy's going to come out to the circle to talk to Salo in the defense.
It's been very interesting to see how Emmy Wells has been doing this entire series. You know, she's done a really good job managing the pitching staff, and particularly keeping runners honest when they're on base, making sure they're not taking massive leads. Obviously, she tried to pick off a runner in the second game. She tried to pick a runner off on first base, which is a really interesting move. But it's interesting to see what Wisconsin are going to do here, because we've seen Salo, we've seen Felci, and we've seen Jacobson. Other pitchers on this Wisconsin lineup, I mean, we do have people like Shelby Jacobson, obviously, and then Kendra Lewis has obviously pitched innings for this team, and obviously Maddie Bellevue. But it'll be interesting to see what Wisconsin does over here.
Yeah, how deep do they go into their dugout? Really putting it in the top of the lineup here, though, with the pitchers, and get to the top of the lineup here for the batters on Iowa as Bennett looking to get a swing here with 2 outs, 2 runners on base, 1 in scoring position. And that first pitch just a little bit outside.
Bennett, again, really improves her profile. You know, the more she gets at bats in this series. She's come into the series with 670 OPS, but she's not looked like a 670 OPS bat this entire series. She's been one of the most dangerous hitters on this Hawkeyes team. And again, she's known as a good bunter, which is kind of what's primarily known, but she's shown the power in the series with that 1 home run.
We'll get the 1-1 pitch from Salo. We get a second strike here. Salo, after that meeting there, has been able to get 2 strikes after walking the first 2. Getting herself back in it, just try and get out of this inning here clean.
If I'm guessing, the Mount Vista must have just been needing to stop going around the strike zone and just start attacking it.
The 2-0, that one hit. Gets to the burner, not in time, gets it in time, so we'll get out of the inning here. Salo getting out cleanly as we are tied up by 2, entering the bottom of the 4th inning.
Of today's Cousins run of the game is Nikki Anfeld. Please head to the Wisconsin table to claim your prize.
Badgers and Hawkeyes knotted up at 2 apiece, but when you look up the lineup for the Iowa Hawkeyes, one name that stands out, Echo Mattiello. For more, our field reporter, Rachel Cohen.
Thanks, guys. Someone who's always hyping up this Iowa Hawkeye team is junior Echo Mattiello. When talking about her with assistant coach Sammy Diaz, she said she's an amazing teammate and is there for every single one of the girls. She said, you know, she's not always someone that gets the start, but she's always at the top of the dugout cheering everyone on. Coach Diaz said that, you know, she's up there and always has Echo right behind her, but talking about not getting the starts, that hasn't been the case this weekend. You know, she started game 1 yesterday, had a run yesterday, and then started the game today. Guys?
And you talk about a player with huge impact for the Hawkeyes, and that is Echo Mattiello, having herself a really strong outing on Friday, like Rachel said. And they're going to need a big effort here from the Hawkeyes to keep themselves in it if they don't want to get swept. First pitch from Adams, going against Brooke Kuffel.
And on that topic of Mattiello, you know, again, we've talked about it earlier, but it's just nice it's just really nice when you hear a coach talk about a junior as a spiritual leader of a team, and, you know, in such glowing terms, obviously. It really spells some really good stuff for Echo Mattiello going into her future career at Iowa.
He's got 2 pitches and 2 balls from Adams. Get the third here. Gets it down the plate.
Kuffel, one of the major hitters on this Wisconsin team, an OPS of 866 on the year. She has 3 home runs as well, so she has shown a bit of power in situations.
That's the third hit there.
Fouls it off herself over there.
Able to keep herself in it, but Kuffel's one of those players that's not afraid to stand in the box as well. 10 walks entering this weekend on the year. That's tied for 3rd most on the team behind Bojan and Lucy.
She also has 2 hit by pitches on the year, which puts her alongside Schlosser and behind Lucy and Wells on the team.
And she'll take a hit by pitch there.
Talk about it right there.
That was one thing that Coach Healy really emphasized for this team. It's so hard to stand in the box and take a pitch like that, especially when it's coming at 50, 60 miles per hour. But she encourages her players to take them when necessary. But Kuffel a little bit shaken up after that hit.
Absolutely. You know, and she was also talking about how the dugout would, applaud the same way they do a home run as for a hit by pitch, because again, yeah, it's such an underrated part of the game. Like, you have to. A pitch is coming at you 50 or 60 miles per hour. You just expect to take it.
Yeah, and you saw Kuffel able to take it, but she was shaken up a little bit, and now we'll get some good teamwork over there.
And now Lucy up to bat.
Lucy's going to bunt. Ball picked up and missed, and runners will advance to first and second. It's another error by the Hawkeyes. That one's going to be called against Alyssa Ramos.
Again, just another miscommunication between the third baseman Ramos and now pitcher Jalen Adams. You know, it's interesting. You know, it was a really weird play. It was a knuckler play towards the pitcher. It was a bunt, obviously, but now Wisconsin with the runners on first and second, as we do get our junior announcer announcing Emily Bojan to bat.
Love to see that. The junior out of Chicago, Illinois. She shows bunt as well. Think so, if it works the first time, why not try it again?
Absolutely, you know, maybe again, hoping for that same thing. Maybe hoping for another miscommunication, hoping for it to split the gap and Bojan able to get to the base quick. It is interesting, though. Bojan does have 3 steals on the year on 3 attempts, so she does have a bit of speed to her.
Goes bunt again, and that one picked up, and throw in time was unable to go.
Ball dropped there by the first baseman.
That's Devin Bowman checking in for the Hawkeyes. You see bunt there. Pick up, but the throw just wasn't able to make Jenna Young in time, who had to slide over to first to try and make the double play. They were unable to do so.
I do want to say that it is very interesting that the throw wasn't immediately made to first when they saw the lead off, because you could see the first base coach signaling for Cuffle to move to third, but then ultimately telling her to hold up.
Ellie Hubbard in the box for the Badgers. Runners on first and second. And the Badgers, after a bit of a slow start, feels like the bats are starting to get going right as the rain starts to trickle down as well.
In almost a direct contrast to what happened in the first game yesterday, maybe not on as big of a level.
That second ball fouled off behind the bleachers.
You know how Wisconsin started their game 1. Obviously, they went to 4. They went 4 runs up, but then after that, the Hawkeyes bats started waking up. You know, maybe it's a contrast to what happened in that first game just right now.
1-2 from Adams. That one is hit into center left field. That'll drop for a base hit. Runners trying to get in scoring position, and one will score. That is Brooke Cuffle bringing it home for the Badgers, and that is an RBI double for Ellie Hubbard.
As the rain comes down, Hubbard able to get a double and scores Brooke Cuffle over there. You know, Hubbard, again, not really known for having an extra base hit bat, but able to split the gap between left field and center and able to get the double on that play. And now Lucy, Hubbard, runners in scoring position as we get Emmy Wells.
And Wells is going to show bunt as the runner tries to get onto home, and it's going to foul.
They attempted the squeeze play, really entertaining to see. Wells, again, Wells does have quite the bunting acumen, but she's more known as sort of a power hitter or nothing. You know, she has a lot of strikeouts on this team, but she has a lot of home runs for this team as well.
And it's great to see the toughness here from the bottom of the lineup. Wells, loves to see if once again she tries the squeeze play. That's the pitch from Adams, and she won't attempt it again. But Ani, you've talked about this squeeze play here, some very old school style from Healy. Can you walk us through kind of what Healy has these players doing to try and force that?
You know, particularly when we talked to Coach Healy about the play against Seton Hall, and
as we get an attempt here once again, and that one,
she's safe.
So she gets it in time, and the old school play works.
What if that's gonna count? That's an incredible play from Danny Lucy. She jumps over the tag, tags it, and then makes sure. Rivera makes the tag to make sure that if this play is reviewed, she is called out because she didn't get a tag on the initial play. But what they're thinking is that Lucy didn't touch home plate. If she did, that is an incredible play.
Slides into the umpire and everything. And we're going to have an instant challenge here from Carl Golan and the Hawkeyes.
Absolutely. I mean, if the play was clear, there was going to be a challenge on that play, because you never know with players like these. They're like such close and fast impact plays. We're going to get a challenge here, but it's going to be interesting to see what the umpires see in a play like this. But if that was the play that works out, that is an incredible swim move from Danny Lucy.
We'll get a replay of it. Does she get it in time? That's so close.
I think
But
the
it-
question right now is if she touched home plate. Because
She definitely hit the ref.
Yeah.
Of the official on her way as we have a review now. This could be a big play here from the Badgers. Is currently, as the score stands, they're leading by 2. If the play is reversed, then they'll lead by 1. But taking the first lead of the game, and you said you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and that one, old school play, works every time.
again, we were going to talk about what Coach Healy was talking about, but she was talking about the thoughts on the old school approaches in situations like that, and she talked particularly that it depends on where they are in the lineup. And we were also talking about it again. Adams really known for a good changeup, and they do bunts a lot more when they see a good changeup. Obviously, when it's moving in towards the righty hitter, they're able to see it a lot better. They're able to position it a lot better, make sure that doesn't bunt foul in situations like that. And well, someone who's proven to be a really good bunter in the past, like, just I don't think it's a question of whether the bunt's there. It's a question of whether Lucy's there
Yeah.
on that play.
Yeah, whether her hand touched home plate or not, it was a very, very close play. And a long review here coming from the officials. Want to make sure you get this right, especially in a tight-knit game like this one with so many implications, not only for today, but just for the Big Ten as well. Both of these teams in the middle of the standings. As thought the officials were going to come out, but no, Healy's peeking over on the corner there to see if they're ready to make the announcement.
I think she wants better look. She wants as good of a look as anyone, honestly, over here right now. I think the question again, if Lucy did touch home plate, that would be she would touch the top of home plate, which again, that's really hard to see on the camera angles we have here at Goodman.
Get it by a finger if she
Yeah.
was able to get there in time, but Adams is going to take this time to warm up and get her pitches settled in, as possibly, even if the out does count, we would only keep it to 2 outs. So with a runner in scoring position in the corners, so even if the play doesn't count, Wisconsin still with the chance to add more.
Absolutely. So we do get another replay on this. I don't think there's a tag there.
It's just a matter of whether Lucy was able to clip the top of the plate, and now we'll have the officials coming out for their official word.
She's
And
safe.
she's safe.
What a play from Danny Lucy. An incredible swim move.
Squeezing out the runners as the Wisconsin Badgers lead 4-2. Bottom of the 4th, 1 out. And runners on the corner, so a chance to extend their lead. And now we're back at the top of the lineup with Olivia Bark.
Oh, no, wait, now it's a coach challenge. Wait, so this entire time was it just the refs looking for another?
Do I have another challenge coming up here? Official review.
Official
is
review
what we
again.
were being told. The review of the review
Yeah.
gives you an extra amount of time. That's the one thing that's been a common staple of all 3 games this weekend is the amount of challenges and reviews that we have seen. Really want to make sure all of these plays are getting called correctly, and the officials have done a very good job on both sides making sure that they are correct.
You know, because this is such a high impact player, right? It's the difference between a runner on first and third when you're down, where you're down by 3 runs, and a. We do get another angle on this. Again, if she has touched home plate, she's touched the top of home plate, which is hard to see on this angle. But again, we trust our umpires to make the right call, obviously.
And that's a tough play for him, too, because Lucy was sliding into him. He's got to focus on the play and try not to get taken out by one of the players at the same time, as everyone anxiously awaiting to see what the call is on the second review, the review of the review.
And absolutely, if he's made the right call with him falling over after a player's clashed into him, that's just a really good call from the ump right there.
We're waiting on the challenge. Iowa players meeting in the center circle. They were leading by 2 early in the first, and then the Badgers have slowly been climbing back in it as they currently lead by 2. We'll see if that call stands.
Everyone at Goodman is like trying to get a look at the review place right now.
Trying to peek their heads in and see what they can find.
It looks like she touches the top of home plate on a.
And now the officials coming out for the second time in this review. And it is safe. So the review of the review of the review confirms the call. And we have the run that stands. Badgers lead 4-2. The bottom of the fourth. 1 out, runners in corners. A chance to add a little bit more here with Olivia Bark.
We've said it probably 20 times in the past 5 minutes, but just a really good play there from Danny Lucy and a good bunt there from Emmy Wells as well. Bold choice for the squeeze play.
The Badgers added some more. This is the first pitch by Adams.
Also important to note, Olivia Bark up to bat, officially up to 40 hits on the season.
She came into this weekend with 35, so adding another 5 so far on the weekend. So that second pitch is high. So we'll have a 2-0 count.
You know, considering Blomberg does not have a hit on the day, this extends the hit lead that she has on Blomberg by 8. She now has 8 more hits than anyone else on this team.
And there's a hit from Bark right there. That one touches the red wall, and we'll have some runners driving down. 1 run will score. Second runner will stay on third. So that is an RBI double from Olivia Bark as she extends on that hitting lead.
Make it 9 hits ahead of anyone else on this Wisconsin team. She's been a prototypical leadoff hitter for this team. They're going to keep Jalen Adams in this. Again, we've had both coaches talk about how they're willing to let these senior pitchers sort of stay in the games. They talk about how in those situations they're always volunteering to stay in those games and sort of limit the damage.
And Golan will say, not so fast, my friend Ani, as it looks like Talia Trenton might be checking into the circle here as Golan is talking to the official, and I saw Trenton coming down from the bullpen. Let's see if this is an official change, and it looks like it will be. So Trenton will enter the circle. The freshman from Gardenville, Nevada, coming in, the two-way player, trying to get it done on the mound as the Hawkeyes try and get out of this inning as cleanly as they can. 2 runners in scoring position, only 1 out.
And then that makes sense why Devin Bowman checked in at first base to start this inning. Maybe they were taking this time to warm up Talia Trenton in the bullpen. And now we do get a pitching change. Talia Trenton has had quite the weekend, hasn't she?
Yeah, doing it all for this Hawkeye team as she'll step into the circle here and try and help her Hawkeyes get right back in it. Coming into the season pitching, she's got about a 3 ERA. She's pitched 73 innings entering this weekend, and that's what you talked about. Adams and Trenton really doing the brunt of the work for the Hawkeyes, and Trenton's going to have to do some work here. She wants to get this Hawkeye team back on track, but coming into the box, Molly Schlosser, who we've been talking about all weekend, what the weekend she has had for this team, especially on Friday, getting the tying run as well as the game winner. Let's see what she can do here. It's the first pitch.
And it'll be interesting to see, considering bunt has worked twice for Wisconsin. You have your best bunter up right on the plate right now. So, again, it's interesting to see what the strategy will be like with Coach Healy.
He's going to baseline hit. That one hit right to Trenton, and now we'll try and get a tagged out runner with double play, and they do it successfully. Look at the 1 out, though, on the tag.
So, yeah, I was going to see, because Bark was taking a lead off of third. I was interested to see what was going to happen there, but no, they're just going to take the easy tag from third going to home. And now we get Hillary Blomberg.
Blomberg, 2 outs, runners on the corners. as the Badgers try to extend their lead. Blomberg takes the first pitch. That one swung out of the bleachers, fouled out.
And she really has so much power in her bat, obviously. She doesn't have a hit on the day. Takes her average down to under 300, but she...
That
There's
one
a steal.
outside as a steal attempt from Slosher.
Is
She gets
safe.
there safe.
Swims around the tag effectively. A good play there from Molly Schlosser.
That's one thing she is not afraid to do. She is 11 of 12 entering this weekend on stolen base attempts. Add another one right there. She leads the team.
Make it 12-13. She now has more steals on this team. She has 3 more steals than anyone else on this team.
2-1 pitch from Trenton. A little bit outside.
Good play there from Rivera to make sure that pitch wasn't wild. She goes a bit outside of where she'd originally set up, making sure the pitch wasn't wild. Kendra Lewis now on the on-deck circle.
Trenton, and that one's going to be a wild pitch, and then runner will score. So Wisconsin adding on to their lead. Olivia Bark making it home off the wild pitch by Trenton.
Trenton has started out a bit wild, especially the last pitch obviously had to go a bit outside to get it. But now off that wild pitch, Bark able to score. Schlosser moves up to third. Lewis up to bat now.
And the Hawkeyes just trying to stop the bleeding whenever they can, as Healy's going to go and talk to the official really quick. Wonder if we'll see any sort of changes here. So take a look at that wild pitch again, and the run by Bark. Complete the play. And Ani, what are they talking about down there?
I think they're talking about a change of some kind. I think a position change of some kind. That's why the lineup cards were swapped out. Maybe they're prepping for Lewis to pitch.
Lewis right now in the batter's box, 2 outs. Trying to extend on the Badgers' lead. They lead 6-2, 4 runs in this inning alone, and they've been able to do it from all sorts of ways. Runners in the corner, and Lewis, you know she's got long-range play.
Very different to a lot of the games we've had in this series. You know, we had the close game with the second game. We had the back and forth of the first. This has really been, ever since the third inning, Wisconsin have taken over this game.
Lewis gets a check swing, and another runner will reach base. The throw not in time as a runner gets safe, and another one will advance to third. So add another run to the Badgers' count as Trenton is unable to stop the bleeding from the Badgers. They lead 7-2.
It looks like Johnson had to stretch out to make that play at first. The throw was not entirely there, and that allows Lewis to advance to first. Over there we see Ramos tries to make the play as fast as possible, just not in time. And now we get Kuffel up to bat.
Wisconsin doing a really great job in this inning.
Just
They really just turned it around after that third. They were able to get the points on the board, and now it seems like they can't stop as second pitch from Trent goes outside, so we got a 1-1.
5 runs is the most that any team has scored in one inning in this entire series, and you know, now we're looking at it.
Trent the 1-1, that one pop fly high into center field, and it's going to get scooped up by the Hawkeyes to finally get out of this, but not without the Badgers putting up 5 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. They lead 7-2 here on Big Ten Plus.
Badger fans, let's hear it for our Summit Credit Union junior announcer, Carly.
Think I won. Safe to
Wisconsin leading 7-2 at the top of the 5th, and that came after a big 4th inning where the Badgers put up 5 runs on it.
Absolutely. Again, that's been the most runs that any team has put up in an inning, and was a lot of massive plays. Obviously, a few errors by Iowa, but the main play being Danny Lucy, an incredible swim move around Desiree Rivera, that led to a really lengthy review process. But in the end, it proves that, again, it was just a really nice play out of Danny Lucy. However, I would not count out Iowa. They have the heart of their lineup in right now. Sujin Berry leading off the inning.
And the comeback is on with Sujin Berry as second pitch from Salo. Gets the strike, so we got a 1-1.
Berry obviously looking for a bit of power. Obviously, she was the bat that kicked off the Iowa rally in the first game. She was the first person to hit that solo home run that really kicked off all the runs that Iowa ended up scoring in that first game. So it'll be interesting to see if she can do something similar in this one, which has really been a great series, all things considered.
And she got herself an RBI in this one so far as the 2-1 from Berry, able to hit it to first base, and the out very quickly from Bark.
Bark simply gets to the ball and no nonsense, just makes the play. Now we move up to the cleanup with Desiree Rivera.
Desiree Rivera.
See what Rivera can do. Had a single earlier in this game, but got an out as well. As the first pitch from Salo goes just out to the outside.
You know, Rivera has the home run in this series, obviously. And again, it's the Hawkeyes are just going to have to look for like these small power moments and just quickly get runs on the board. The mercy rule is obviously 8 runs onwards from this inning. So again, it's limiting the damage on one side, but then starting to do a bit of that by yourself.
The Hawkeyes trying to get themselves back in it with Rivera. Hitting .253 on the year. Salo will get her second strike.
Salo has looked really good on the mound since she has come in. She has not allowed a hit in 2 1/3 inning.
2-1 from Salo. That one swung and fouled behind the bleachers.
Obviously, she had the 2 walks in the last inning that led to a mound visit, but still no hits allowed.
And that feels like that's been what the big change was for this team. Salo coming in to the circle really just made an impact on the defensive side. And that was something that Yvette Healy said coming into this game, was how important the pitchers were, especially someone like Salo, who's coming in her 5th year.
Again, yeah, she's taken a lot of freshmen that are on this team, and she's taken a lot of the innings from that team, from those freshmen, allowing them to get their moments, allowing them to get their spots, and get in different situations so they can, you know, experience them for the first time, show maybe how to get in and out of those situations. And also, she's done a really good job as a firewoman, you know, in those games when Wisconsin's completely out of it. She's still coming in, making sure that the game just gets over, that the outs happen.
Full count here from Salo, going against Rivera, the transfer from Oregon State. Here's a pitch from Salo. That one swung into center field off the glove of Salo, and she'll get a single off of that one. So the comeback is on for the Hawkeyes as they got a runner on base.
First hit allowed by Salo, and Rivera on first right now. We will get quite an interesting matchup right now. Alyssa Ramos, who at third has had some shaky moments at third, obviously, but has really been a nice bat in this series.
Got a hit by pitch earlier and is 0 for 1 since. The freshman out of Whittier, California.
Salo will stay in the game. And again, if they want to come back, I mean, this is what they're going to want to get. Runners on base and hopefully some power moments as well.
Entering the game for Iowa,
So it looks like
number 30,
Healy
Arlette
talking to the umpires, trying to maybe get some change in balls with the weather that's going on outside.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hannah Lindsay is currently at the plate.
Now batting for Iowa, number 19, Hannah Lindsay.
863 OPS on the year. She's been really good in pinch hit situations specifically. But what's there to note is she has 3 home runs on the year. They're going to hope for one of those right now.
Looking for some power is Coach Golan. It's the first pitch from Salo. Wells was looking for a runner, but Rivera did not bite.
Not Rivera. We do have a pinch runner in the game right now.
Second pitch from Salo. That one outside. And the tag to first. Not in time. Let's get the pitch from Salo. 2-0 count.
We do have the pinch runner Arlette Caravaca in right now. So definitely Iowa are going for. They're going for it right now. Because they have to right now. Otherwise, it's going to really get out of hand. Considering we do not know what's going to happen in that bottom of the 5th.
Salo just trying to get out of this duel against Lindsay. 3-1 count.
This is the hitter's count right now.
See if Lindsay takes the bite. And she doesn't, hit inside. And runners will advance.
And now up to bat Talia Tretton. Very interesting to note, Talia Tretton, whenever she gets up to a bat, she marks T in the ground in one side of the batter's box and then moves over to the other where she bats righty.
We'll have a talk here between Riley Crane and Salo.
And Avery Jackson as well is now going to pinch run for Hannah Lindsay, who worked quite a good at bat out of Gabby Salo. And now Talia Tretton with 2 runners on base.
Iowa trying to go for it here. They're down by 5 in the top of the 5th. As trying to help lead the comeback as the first pitch goes just outside.
This is going to be an interesting situation for Salo to work out of. Tretton has been pretty much everywhere this entire series. So 2 fast runners on base as well. We have 2 pinch runners right now on base, Avery Jackson and Caravaca. We will get Coach Healy coming out right now because, yeah, Salo does look a bit wild. So maybe they're looking for a bit of a pitch. Maybe they're looking for a pitching change or maybe just consulting different approach.
You have to figure out, and you have to watch out for Jackson. 2 of 2 on stolen base attempts this year. She's sitting behind Caravaca in second, but wouldn't be surprised if either of these two tried to go for it. Only 1 out, so not super risky of a play. And if you're going, when you're down by 5, you have to make a move and be aggressive. You put in 2 pinch runners, you think they go for it.
I absolutely think they are. And I don't think we'll be seeing a bunt from them as well because a bunt, at the end of the day, a bunt's an out, right? And you don't really have outs to give right now. So what they're looking for is they're really looking for the power right now. They're looking for some extra base hits, maybe something to split the gap, for something to go their way right now.
Let's get the 2-0. Trenton on the box. The pitch from Salo.
Throws the strike, 2-1. Salo up to 53 pitches right now.
And that's the thing, is that even with Iowa slowing down on the amount of runs that they've had, they've really grinded out the pitchers. We get the 2-1 from Salo, that one outside.
Salo also does have a 268 batting average allowed with runners on base. So this will be interesting to see.
Sets up for an interesting situation. 3-1 coming from Salo. 1 out. See what Trenton does. She'll swing for it and fouls into the netting. So Trenton keeping herself alive, but a full count here.
Trenton, the 727 OPS on the year. She has really been a two-way threat for this Iowa team. And has really come in and is one of the main reasons for their massive improvement in 2025.
The full count, that one low to the ground, and Trenton will take the walk. So now bases loaded here.
And Devin Simon at the plate. You know, she's really shown a lot with the glove. This is her moment to show it with the bat. It is, again, she has a 785 OPS on the year, 23 hits on the year. She has 6 doubles. She only has the 1 home run and 7 RBIs, though. But she has been quite the solid bat. 32 total bases on the year.
As the first pitch to Simon goes low for a ball. This is a really big opportunity here for the Hawkeyes to put themselves back in it. They had the lead, they lost the lead, and now they're really trying to climb their way back in it, but Simon could put themselves in it. 0 for 2 so far on the day. As she swings at the second one, that one hit into the infield throw in time, but a runner will advance to score.
And that's a good play. Again, I mean, the runner does score, but again, you're up by 5 runs. At positions like these, especially working out of bases loaded, it's really hard. Salo, it's nice just getting out over there. But it's what Simon represents. Simon represents the start of a really dangerous part of the Iowa lineup with Mattiello and Roman, who's already gotten on a walk, and then that's the top of the lineup afterwards.
Mattiello in the box, the first pitch. To the outside of Mattiello. 2 runners in scoring position, but 2 outs for the Hawkeyes. Salo trying to get out as cleanly as possible, giving up 1 run. As we get the second strike.
The wind blowing away from Mattiello's pole, so it's going towards our left. So again, it's just interesting to see that the weather is definitely going to be a factor, whether or not.
Mattiello swings, and that one fouls out on the left side. Yeah, kind of the opposite of yesterday, where the wind was going out towards Lake Mendota. That's what we saw, a lot of home runs, a lot of really far hit balls, whereas today it's been a lot more infield defense type games, seeing the bunts and the squeeze plays, and that's how Wisconsin has been able to get their points, is by playing the short game, playing the ground game, but also being able to do it at a few different distances, but we haven't seen the long ball either. And for Iowa on the other side, after 3 home runs yesterday, trying to get themselves back on track. Mattiello here with the 1-2.
And especially with softball, the ball knuckles so much more because the wind hits the seams a lot different, and it just leads to sometimes fly balls not being as routine plays as you think, and the ball is obviously flying a lot further depending on the conditions.
We wait for the 2-2 from Salo.
And now we'll get a full count. First base is open, so it'll be it'll be interesting to see how they attack it. But after this is Roman, but then after Roman is the top of the lineup. So
we've seen Roman being able to get on base too with the walks. As the count from Salo, that one hit by Mattiello, and she doesn't get there in time. So Salo able to get out of the inning, but the Iowa Hawkeyes able to get a score. They trail 7-3 in the 5th.
It's time for the 5th inning stretch. Please join us in the singing of Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Wisconsin leading 7-3 entering the bottom of the 5th. But Ani, both of these coaches talked about the pitching battle coming into today, and it feels like it's starting to deliver a little bit.
Absolutely. Like, this is a lot more of the pitcher's deal, obviously without the Badgers' massive 5-run top of the 4th. But Salo obviously has pitched a lot according to with Molly Jacobson, and Kendra Lewis has taken a lot of innings as well. But if you want to talk about innings, Jalen Adams is the name. 111 on the year. And what's interesting to note is that neither of these teams have real like power strikeout pitchers. Both of them have a good mix of sort of ground ball and swing and miss stuff, and also a lot of different looks that you can get at them. Felchi really being the only primary pitcher out of both these teams that's a lefty, but we've also not seen a lot of this Iowa bullpen. We've not seen Jaskowiak, we've not seen Clark, we've not seen Down. As we will now get the bottom of the fifth.
Took a minute to get there. The umpire giving some signals up here to the boxes. Trenton in the circle.
As we
First pitch to Danny Lucy. Inside for a ball.
Obviously, she had an impressive play in the last inning to score the run.
Second pitch outside.
And she's also shown some really solid center field defense this entire series.
Lucy's been a do-it-all player for this team, able to run, hit, and score as that ball is fouled out straight away.
As the rain does come down in Madison, at least a bit more.
Starting to become a little bit more of a factor here. As we get the 2-1 from Trenton. That one is called for a strike. So we get the 2-2.
The forecast, however, does say that we're going to get a lot more at a bit later.
Lucy able to knock that into left field, and a great play there at the warning track. That is Roman able to get the snag for the Hawkeyes.
Again, just a nice running play there from Roman. And again, it's just when you have those plays, they have to be made. Solid contact there from Danny Lucy. But again, just met to it quite well by Roman. And now we get to Bojan, who has shown quite exceptional plate discipline on the year.
Yeah, it was one of those plays that I feel like if there was a little bit of wind going towards the lake, that would have been gone. But the wind going the opposite way was able to keep that on the warning track for the out. As Bojan the 1-0. Gets called for a strike.
What's interesting to note is that Bojan's actually walked more than she's hit this year. She has 15 hits on the year and now 16 walks on the year.
As that pitch goes inside. Bojan in Big Ten play. Entering this weekend, 9 at-bats, 3 hits, but 2 home runs and 2 RBIs. So really have been heating up in the last couple of weeks as she gets a smack out there to right field, out to the warning track. That one is picked up by Simon.
Iowa's most consistent defender this entire series. Devin Simon again. That's a harder ball than it looks to read, but she's able to range on it, get a good read on it, and then just get the glove out and make the play. Just good stuff there from Devin Simon.
And she heads to the dugout. She said something to Ellie Hubbard, probably as they try to read the pitches. And the first one goes outside.
Yeah, she's continuing to relay it to the rest of the dugout, and I think what she's talking about is the fact that the wind is blowing in. It's blowing in right now, so the wind is coming off the lake into the field. So maybe the fly ball, maybe there won't be as much fly ball luck compared to today as we saw yesterday.
As Hubbard takes the 1-1. That pitch is a little bit outside. It feels like Wisconsin's have been able to get some really good contact since the 3rd inning. And with Trenton, they've been able to really make some plays as they've been able to extend their lead 7-3 at the bottom of the 5th. But so far in this inning, 2 outs, both on flies. Now we'll have a full count with 2 outs.
Trenton again has looked quite solid on the mound for Iowa. Only the 1 walk allowed, but has been able to get through the Wisconsin hitters. quite
Okay.
well as she issues another walk there to Hubbard.
So Wisconsin staying alive in this one, and Healy's going to go to the umpire. Looks like we might get a pinch runner in here, and that we will. Emma King checking in at first base.
When you talk about pinch runners, I mean, for Wisconsin, you talk about Emma King. I mean, someone who has been designated pinch runner for this Wisconsin team by Coach Healy. A role that quite a few players have played, and obviously it's good signifier because a lot of those pinch runners lead to much bigger roles in future seasons for them.
Freshman 6 of 9 on stolen base attempts as we have Emmy Wells in the box for the Badgers. 1 of 2 on today. Had that RBI single back in the 4th inning. As she looks to have one more. Pop fly to center field. Just into the outside. That one gets picked up by the Hawkeyes. So Iowa able to get out of the inning cleanly. They still trail 7-3 heading into the 6th. The standings, Wisconsin at 8 at 21-12, Iowa at 9, 21-11.
You know, and again, this started as sort of a mid-table matchup between two Big Ten teams, but with Wisconsin, they get their 6th win. They tie Northwestern for the most wins in the Big Ten. Obviously, they've played more games than Northwestern, but getting 6 wins already in the Big Ten season is massive for Wisconsin.
And this is a Big Ten conference that is loaded. 4 teams in the top 25, according to the latest ESPN and USA coaches poll. Oregon at 6, UCLA at 7, Nebraska at 20, and Ohio State at 23. As get back to the play on the field. In the box there, Tatiana Roman, the bottom of the lineup. Been able to get on base in her 2 trips in today's game. Gets a single, also got a walk. See what she can do here at the top of the 6th.
Roman, obviously, yeah, she got onto the walk as well, and really kick-started a bit of a rally that was there for the Hawkeyes at the top of the 5th.
The 1-1 from Salo. Swung and fouled. But that's the thing about this Big Ten conference is that it feels like as strong as some of the top teams are, anybody could beat anybody on any given day. Wisconsin, Yvette Healy said coming in, they felt like they were underdogs coming in. They were able to get both games of the doubleheader, and then so far leading in this one 7-3.
And again, if things stand, yeah, that means that they have swept a team that beat a top 10 team in the nation right now in UCLA. And again, like Coach Healy, when Coach Healy talks to this Badgers team after the series, they're gonna take away something from that.
This is a team that started off pretty strong, Wisconsin, going 4-1 in the Paradise Classic as get the 2-2 from Salo. That one hit into center field, goes out into the outside, and we'll get a base hit from Roman. Having herself quite a day. 3 trips and at-bats and three singles, 1 on a walk.
But again, there's just a very fundamental single over there. Up the middle, splitting the gap, too fast for Salo to react. And she now has her chance on base again. And now she gets to hand this over to the top of the Iowa lineup. Gets to hand it over to the top of the Iowa lineup, and now we get to Young, we get to Bennett, we get to Sujin Berry. You know, really effective stuff from Tatiana Rahman.
A comeback is on for Iowa. Down by as much as 5 at the end of the 4th inning. They were able to get a run in the 5th. Can they add any more here in the 6th with Jenna Young? First pitch from Salo. Called for a strike.
Salo now up to pitch 70 in a game she did not start. She came into this game, obviously, in relief of Molly Jacobson, who was also in relief of Jordan Felci.
The pitch by Salo is called for a ball, so we'll get the 1-1.
It's also a really weird middle ground. You know, it's raining outside, but it's not enough to call for the rain delay. And it looks like it's going to be calming down.
Young, that one is fouled off. Jenny Young, another one of those Big Ten players to watch in 2025, along with Sujin Berry. You talk about how strong that lineup is at the top. Berry and Young leading in almost every statistical category possible coming into the weekend. Batting average, hits, RBI, second and third, home runs, Berry leading the way. Total bases, 1 and 2. These two are very strong at the top of the lineup as we get the 1-2. That one, line drive into the outfield, and now we got the runners coming around. Going all the way around, going to be able to get 1 run scoring, and that's going to be another triple for Jenna Young.
Add 3 more total bases to that, second on the team total. Gets the entire runner around, and again, when we're talking about Jenna Young and Sujin Berry, most impressive part, that's the middle infield pair right there. That's second and shortstop, positions you wouldn't really expect power from. And again, maybe not power in the case of someone like Jenna Young. She only has the 1 home run on the year. But what her strength is, her ability to get on base. She's very similar to Olivia Barkin that way. They're so good at getting on base with a single and kick-starting rallies. And now she's able to hand off the bat to someone like Tori Bennett, who's looked so good throughout this entire series.
That's 2 triples in this game for Young. And she got one in the 1st, she got one in the 6th. The comeback is on for the Hawkeyes as they trail 7-4. It's a pitch from Salo. That one swung by Bennett into the outside, and that's going to be a foul ball.
Wisconsin trailed 4-7 going into they trailed 4-7 in their game against Iowa in that first game. So this is the second time that we are seeing a rally from a team down 3 runs.
In that first game, Wisconsin led by 4, and then 5 runs by Iowa between the 4th and the 5th inning. And then Wisconsin was able to get 4 runs in the end to come away with the walk-off. Iowa now trying to do it on the other end. Can they do it with Bennett? The pitch from Salo, that one fouled off.
And when you talk about moments that they're going to take away from the season, I mean, Tori Bennett that home run. I mean, we keep talking about, but what a way to get your first chain as an Iowa Hawkeye.
See what she can do here. The 1-2 pitch from Salo. High.
We haven't seen any home runs today. The wind has calmed down, though. It was quite aggressively blowing into the infield, but now it looks like it's remaining static.
The 2-2 from Salo. That one swung and missed by Bennett, but it looked like she got a clip of it to keep herself alive. The thing is that it feels like Iowa in this inning, both of the hits coming off of line drives, and really almost hitting the ground before it got into the outfield. They're playing the ground game instead of going for those pop flies. They saw Wisconsin try to do that earlier in the previous inning, and it didn't work. There was 2 straight outs. So Iowa making the correct adjustments as Bennett's going to get a pop fly out to right field, and that one is picked up, and now the chance to make the double play is unable to go.
That is a great play in the outfield by Kendra Lewis, who's kept the runner at third, got the throw in as quick as possible. And again, the runner from third, where it felt like they were almost certainly going to score, Lewis keeps them at third.
Lewis, a two-way, three-way player. She does a little bit of everything for this team. She can pitch, she can bat, she can field, and she makes the big play right there to get the first out of the inning.
And what's impressive about all of that, she's just a freshman.
And one player Coach Healy highly praised coming into this game, and she has shown in the home opener this weekend what she is capable of, as the 1-0 from Salo is fouled out to the left.
Fouled into the Wisconsin dugout by Sujin Berry. And Berry, I mean, she's come into this game and she's had the one hit, obviously. And again, it's gonna be interesting to see her approach. Obviously, we are now having the wind again blowing back into the infield.
See what Berry can do. Young on third, waiting for the signal. Let's get the 1-1. Fouled off again by Berry. Looked a little frustrated after that one.
Because she looked like she just missed it as well. I think that's what she's saying as well to Rivera on deck circle, that she just missed it. But this is a fun at bat already between Salo and Berry.
We get the 1-2 from Salo. That one swung line drive into center field, and that one's picked up by Lucy. Runner's going to score, but Wisconsin getting the out.
Sack fly there, gets the run in, but now again, Iowa's gonna have to start from 0. They are only 2 runs behind though now, so it's really a good rally that they have ended up building, that Iowa has ended up building.
Iowa keeping it interesting here as Desiree Rivera enters the box. Saw the first pitch called for a ball. Rivera is one of those players that she can make an impact when needed. Do we get the 1-0?
Ball, but a good reception there from Wells, trying to make it look like a strike. Again, good frame job. She's been really good at that this entire series. Some really good framing there, making it more convincing for the umps for it to look like strikes.
And that one inside. Rivera only 1 home run this season, but 11 RBIs. Trailing slightly behind Lindsey Berry and Young. As we get the 3-0 and the first strike from Salo.
You're in take mode when you see 3-0, so Sal throws it down the middle. Make sure that she gets her zone, sort of, and can get the basic understanding of where the zone is.
3-1 from Salo, and we'll get a walk for Rivera.
And now we're going to get Avery Jackson. We're going to get an at-bat from Avery Jackson.
Don't say that all too often. 15 at-bats this year, batting average of .267.
She has 4 hits on the year, 4 singles on the year as well.
Get herself on base about 33% of the time. As she gets a hit right there into left field. The line drive as both runners are able to advance. So the Hawkeyes keeping it interesting here. Down by 2, but a chance to make it interesting.
A 5th single on the year for Avery Jackson, and now we have both the tying runs are on base. Tretton in the box represents the winning run right now, the lead for Iowa.
And Trenton can have Empower 12 hits on the year entering this weekend, 12 RBIs, 1 home run. Another one of those do-it-all player freshmen, and Yvette Healy is going to visit Circle.
And it'll be interesting, again, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Salas thrown 89 pitches on the day. That is quite a bit from a relief appearance as well. And
have to see what Healy tells her pitchers. That's the thing, it's been very interesting. This game started with Felci, who made it about half of the first inning, and then we saw Jacobson in for a little bit, and then Salo came in, and they were really able to get some good defense going, force some outs, and now Iowa on the comeback, 3 runs in the last 2 innings.
And they've looked really solid these past two. They've seemed like they've figured out something in Gabby Salo, and they're attacking it continuously. But now we do have a discussion at center circle between Ellie Hubbard and Salo. I'm guessing it's a discussion of, hey, you got this, you can get through these few batters. You have 2 outs on the board. You just need the 1 more, and then we're out of the inning.
Rivera and Jackson on base, 1 in scoring position as the first pitch from Salo. And that's the one nice thing when you have Avery Jackson, somebody who comes in more so as a runner, but able to get the single, so it frees up some opportunities here if you need speed at any point. But
Absolutely. Avery Jackson and Emma King sort of have very similar roles to each other, but what makes Avery Jackson different from Emma King is that she's gotten a few more at bats than her, and she's proven that she's quite a consistent singles hitter when she is called upon, as we saw over there, just a simple line drive into the right field gap.
as that one is hit into the dirt and tries to get it on time, and Jackson able to get back on time.
A bit of a heavy lead off there from Jackson, but able to get back in time. That's more experience with experience on the base pads, obviously.
I wonder if Salo is really starting to feel the brunt of the pitches. 92 so far. As that one goes down the center for a strike. We got a 2-2. 2 outs. Wisconsin leading 7-5. Iowa trying to get back in it. Has the ability to tie, lessen the lead, or even take the lead depending on what happens here with Trenton.
And
2-2 from Salo. That one fouled off straight away.
And this is where the load of the series comes in. Obviously, Salo went and pitched 4 innings in that first game against Iowa, where she ended up giving up 5 earned runs. But then in this one, she's now gotten up to pitch 94. And there's still 1 more inning of softball remaining, so it'll be interesting to see. They are warming up someone in the bullpen right now. From our angle, we can't really see who.
Can Salo get out of this one? The 2-2. Hits low. We got a full count here.
The ball is bouncing right ahead of the Iowa batter's box right now. They're looking for the curveball.
The full count from Salo. That one hit by Trenton. Makes the throw in time on the defense, and the Badgers able to get out, but not before the Hawkeyes make it interesting. They cut the lead to 2. Wisconsin leading 7-5 here in the middle of the 6th. Wisconsin leading 7-5 heading into the bottom of the 6th. They were able to take the first 2. What's their secret sauce? Rachel Cohen has more in the field.
Thanks, guys. Something that this Wisconsin team partakes in is meditation training. They get that mindfulness moments with Chad McGee, who is the director of meditation training at UW Athletics. When talking with head coach Yvette Healy about the training that they get, she said that he came in a few weeks ago and talked with the team about what has been hard, what they do well, and what they said was they love scoring first, but it's hard when the other team does and they have to play from behind. Because of this, he did a few mindfulness mindsets of saying that even if the other team scores first, you can still play great softball. And right after their next 5 games, they won 4 of them, call coming from behind. So whatever they did is obviously working, because yesterday they won both games and are on track to do so today, guys.
Now batting for Wisconsin, number 45,
Thank you, Rachel. And the Badgers trying to use those tricks from Chad McGee to keep themselves ahead here as Olivia Bark up at the plate and back to the top of the lineup here for the Badgers. Bark 3 at-bats, 2 hits and a run, an RBI. got herself a double in one of those. Having a very solid day for the Badgers, keep them ahead.
And a continuation of a really solid year as a prototypical leadoff hitter for the Wisconsin team. Obviously 40 hits on the year already. So really impressive stuff out of Olivia Bark.
She keeps herself in it after the ball from Trenton.
And also some really solid plays at first this whole series.
The 2-1 from Trenton. That one hit low.
Obviously, we're in the bottom of the 6th with the lead with the Badgers right now. So
Wisconsin trying to maintain, and they get a walk from Olivia Bark to get things going in the bottom of the 6th.
on base 3 out of 4 trips today. Again, it's it's the ideal thing you'd want out of a leadoff hitter.
As we got Molly Schlosser checking in for the Badgers.
Number 20, Molly
Wisconsin, if they could add on to their lead here, they lead by 2.
Schlosser obviously has looked really good this entire series. She's 1 for 3 on the day today. She had a double in the 3rd, obviously an RBI double.
Trent gets a strike on the 1st, and Schlosser will bunt on the 2nd. The throw gets in time, but the runner advances to 2nd.
And that's why Coach Healy bats Molly Schlosser number 2 in the lineup, because she knows that Olivia Bark can get on base, but what she also knows is Molly Schlosser is really good at bunting to get Olivia Bark over just to the next base. And now, hand it off to your best power hitters. Blomberg, Lewis in the on-deck circle right now as well.
Blomberg without a hit today as she swings at the first one. It is fouled off. A strikeout and a walk so far, but had herself a very solid outing yesterday in the doubleheader.
And again, I mean, there's some days where you just don't get the hit, and that's fine, but she has the walk on the day she's gotten on base. She's shown power in some good swings as well.
And if she can get a hit, she can really make her money's worth, leading the team in RBIs entering this weekend with 26 home runs and total bases with 56 entering the weekend. And she's top 3 in a lot of the hitting categories as well. Batting average just under 300 entering this weekend, as well as hits with 29. Was able to add a few yesterday, but is looking for her first one today.
She's now at 63 total bases for the year, so 60 total bases on the year in 30 games. She averages almost 2 total bases, almost a double per game, which, when you think about that, that's so impressive.
As that pitch is inside there. But that's what she's known for, is those doubles. Really made a standing in her freshman year.
The current, the all-time leader for doubles by Wisconsin freshmen, obviously.
Get the 2-1 from Trent.
And now it is the hitters count for Blomberg.
Gives herself the opportunity. Get the strike, now we'll have a full count.
And now is the question that Healy has been asking her entire team this entire year. Are we good 2-strike hitters? It'll be interesting to see how the approach in this pitch.
Full count from Trenton. Goes low on that one, and Blomberg will take the walk.
She was kind of hesitant. She was trying to see what the ump was going to call, but ultimately, ump calls the ball. She gets the free base. Kendra Lewis up to bat.
Yeah, you talk about freshman phenoms. Healy always says a great thing at the end of the year where the freshmen aren't freshmen anymore. Kendra Lewis just walked in, and she's not a freshman. She plays experience, so she gets a hit. Throw to third base in time as the runners advance.
Force out at
Olivia
third.
Bark.
Force out at third, just making sure that, again, a runner on third is a lot. That's the bigger danger. A runner on first and second with 2 outs on the board, that's at least sort of manageable. The runner on third with 2 outs, that would be quite the bad situation for Iowa, especially when they are 2 runs down.
And a pinch runner incoming, Mackenzie Foster checking in. for Blomberg as Brooke Kuffel in on the box. And one thing of note, looking at Bark after she got out, going to the dugout, looked like she was walking a little bit slower, but was able to make it. Love to check on that as the game progresses, but
She did also have just her teammates just brush her off the dirt, just like make sure all the dirt was off. She does have a very important job to do at first base when pitches come back to the field for Wisconsin.
the first pitch against Kuffels, go for strike.
0 for 2 on the day for Kuffel.
Had the hit by pitch earlier in the game. Let's get the 0-1. Tries to swing at it, fouls off to the left, and a runner will advance. Well, thought she was going to advance, but it was fouled, so we'll reset.
It's just like a signature thing of just get to the other base, just tap it, go back. Sort of good faith, like I'll be back here.
Good juju.
Yeah, good juju.
Use some of that mindfulness training from Chad McKee to advance to the base.
It is very interesting to hear Coach Healy talk about just how effective that has been for this team.
Let's get the 1-2 from Trenton. That one, fly ball popped straight away, and it's going to go over for a foul. Nearly hit our camera operator Grace over there. Looks like she's okay though. Missed her just off to the left.
Yeah, just in front of her. She gives a smile to show that everyone she's okay.
We got a quick check-in, and finally the first ball that's hit the bleachers today as we get the 1-2 from Trenton. Check swing, and they're going to call it a strike. So Iowa able to get out of that one cleanly. They still trail by 2, 7-5, trying to get the comeback.
Join us on Saturday, April 19th at Camp Randall Stadium for the Wisconsin Football Spring Showcase presented by UW Credit Union. The event will begin with the Coles Kids Combine from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the McLean Center, where kids 12 and under can participate in fun, interactive activities. Wisconsin football will then take the field for an open practice and scrimmage, giving fans an early look at the 2025 team. After the scrimmage, fans are invited onto the Camp Randall turf for photos and interactions with student athletes and coaches. General admission tickets are $5. Admission is free for Wisconsin football season ticket holders, UW-Madison students, and kids 12 and under, but all patrons must claim a ticket for entry. Don't miss this exciting opportunity to see Wisconsin football in action. For more information, visit uwbadgers.com.
Wisconsin holding the lead at 7-5 entering the 7th inning, but Iowa on the comeback trail, 3 runs over the last 2 innings, and the comeback is on, Ani.
It is. The wind is blowing in. Maybe not what they want right now, but they are absolutely going to hope that they can string together some hits. We get Anna Streff in as a pinch hitter right now for Iowa. And it's going to be important. They've kept Salo on the mound. She's on pitch 96. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Also to note, Riley Crane, she was at second base for the last inning. She continues to stay at second base for this inning.
Streff checking in, the junior from Marion, Iowa. First pitch called a ball against Salo. Get the second one here. That one hit by Streff. Popeye into right center field. Picked up by the Badgers. Able to get the first out.
We've seen a lot of good running plays from right field. Add that to the list. Brooke Kuffel, just a nice play ranging towards the ball. Just takes the direct ball, takes the direct run to it. The wind might have affected the ball over there, but able to read it well and just make the play. That's 1 out. Iowa has 2 remaining.
Trying to get out of this one with the sweep is the Wisconsin Badgers, just 2 outs away from doing so. The pitch from Salo is bunted by Mattiello. Throw in time. That's 2 outs for the Badgers.
They're not going to call the bunt foul. It did land in front of home plate, which is why they're not going to. But again, a bunt just not successful. Iowa now has one out remaining. Tatiana Roman, maybe the person you'd want right now. She's 2 for 2 on the day. She has a walk on the day as well. You need someone to get on base. She's been quite reliable for that.
They try and stay alive, the Hawkeyes. The first pitch from Salo called ball. Salo up to 100 pitches in this game, putting in a workload this weekend. Just needs to get one more out, though, to secure the win. Pitch from Salo.
She has that signature thing when she's just preparing to pitch. She just like does the full roundup, throws it into her glove, full force. And she does have quite a bit of velo behind her pitches, so.
The 2-0. That one called for a strike.
Pitch number 103 coming.
Salo, the 2-1, that one is fouled out into the bleachers on the left side field.
And there's a souvenir finally for
a fan. Just one strike away, one out away from securing the win is Gabby Salo. The 2-2. The 2-2 from Salo. Hit by Roman, keeping herself alive. And right back to the same spot on the bench. That fan come away with 2 souvenir balls.
same kid as well. Good job, kid.
He's so excited. He's running down the sideline there.
He's looking for the event stuff. I don't think they're allowed to keep the ball. So looking for the event stuff, just running to it.
Salo meets in the circle with her players, and we'll get the 2-2 once again. Pitch 105 from Salo. Could this be her last? Here's the 2-2. Hit line drive, second base, the throw in time, and that'll do it. Wisconsin coming down from 2-0, able to rally 5 runs in the 4th inning. They win 7-5.
Bark with a nice play there. Keeps the pick. Makes sure that the throw is on line. Keeps her foot on the bag. Wisconsin comes away with a really important sweep. They've just proven that they can beat a team that has beat a top 10 team in this season and have done it quite well. Gabby Salo pitching over 100 pitches despite starting the game yesterday. And a good relief performance out of Molly Jacobson and a good recovery by the Badgers after going down 2-0 in the first.
The Badgers able to get 3 wins on the weekend, all coming in very different ways, but they move to 22-12 and 3-0 at home for their home opening weekend. Taking a look at the final stats from all 3 games, Wisconsin leading the way, 4 home runs, and they were able to get 3 wins off of it. It was a fun weekend here in Madison as softball is back in action. Thank you so much for tuning in to Big Ten Plus. Wisconsin coming away with the sweep as they win 7-5 over the Iowa Hawkeyes. That wraps things up for tonight. For my broadcast partner, Ani, and myself, Chrissy, and our entire Big Ten Plus crew, so long from Goodman Diamond. Once again, the final score, Wisconsin defeating Iowa 7-5. We thank you for watching this Big Ten Network Student U production by Wisconsin. We'll see you next time.